Hey everybody, welcome to another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000, the World Eaters, a release of 3 new products for Warhammer 40k, including a Battle Force, a word I haven't heard in quite some time, and which I'm really hoping. I would love to see this format of box set get a game in and of itself, because the model count is kind of reminiscent of things like Spearhead, which I think is really cool. This contains just under or over 700 points. We have 2 units of 8 bound? Yes, 8 bound, and then the Exalted 8 bound. A single unit of 3, some Jackal units, and then the new Slaughterbound character, and it retails for $290 Canadian, and it's up for pre-order today. This was all kindly sent as complimentary review copies by Games Workshop, and can be combined with the Combat Patrol, which has some additional stuff in it, including the big Yeti-looking Demon Prince, some actual Khorne Berserkers, which you don't get in this box, kind of oddly, but it feels like this was designed to be combined with the Combat Patrol, much like the Death Guard one that you'll see today as well, to create, a roughly 12, this one's roughly 1,200 points. You get like a Crusade army out of it if you buy the 2 box sets and put them together. And there's not a lot of duplication. You get a Lord Executioner in that box as well, and a Rhino, because a lot of the tricks and tips that happen in the detachments here, actually you can use Rhino, which is kind of cool. So also available today, we have the Codex, which is $70, and these data cards, which are 41, I believe, Canadian. Obviously, your mileage may vary in other jurisdictions, but as I'm from Canada, that's what we're working with. Full color rulebook has all of the fixins of current 10th edition Codex, but the first half of it is going to be all of the backgrounding stuff, and it goes and kind of illustrates the newer units as well, because there is a unit in this book, which is of course the cultist troops that have been modified by the butcher surgeons to have robot legs. So jackals that want to become more like, they're basically jackals that have seen a bloodletter and they want to become bloodletters. They get like surgically altered to kind of be more bloodlettery, and they become oh shoot, I've forgotten their name already. They become, it's like Goremongers, that's it. Yeah, the big chain-glaive dudes. And they're sort of like, they're kind of like Skitarii, not the Skitarii, the Hunter Clades from the Adeptus Mechanicus. They have the same kind of like backwards hooked legs. And yeah, that's kind of the newest unit in here, along with the Slaughterbound, which is the big cool 8-bound character. He's got a chainsaw hand. That's how much Khorne likes him. You give him a chainsaw hand. And this color section goes right up until the Combat Patrol itself. So this is the box set that is sort of, if you haven't played Warhammer 40,000 recently or in this edition, Combat Patrol was the micro game version of Warhammer 40k. You get like a curated data sheet. And we've also got a paint guide for this. I really like the Death Guard one because it looks super easy. This one involves priming with Wraithbone, which is, why would I do that when I could prime with Mephiston Red, which I would probably do instead. But I think the idea here is if you prime Wraithbone, then you could use some of the other colors for the culty troops. And not everything in here is a Chaos-based brain, so that kind of makes sense. All right, Frenzied Reavers, let's talk about this Combat Patrol. You get a boiled down version of the Blessings of Khorne. Now, the Blessings of Khorne I'll get into in a minute when I get into the army rules, which is the army rule for the new army. But basically, it's a dice pool. There's an RNG system. And this is one of the things where I do think it's kind of unfortunate that this book came out alongside the Codex for the Death Guard, because the Death Guard's army rule isn't random, and it's always good, and it's a flat application as opposed to compared values, which makes this a little less appealing. In a vacuum, I think it's fine, but you can see the game design for the Death Guard, the game design for the World Eaters, it feels like they happen separately, and they weren't really cross-compared. But basically what happens, you roll 8 dice at the start of the turn, and then you will assign them to have powers that are active for that battle round. Sorry, not turn, battle round, so it goes to both players' turns. So you roll your 8d6. If you have multiples of anything, you can spend them to unlock up to 2 of these things. You only get access to 3 of the ones that you have access to. I think there's 6 overall. Yeah, 6 in the main army. But one is get a 6-inch pile in. The other one is if you die, on a 4+ you fight before you're removed. And then the last one's martial excellence. You get sustained hit 1 on your melee weapons. Your Demon Prince is your Warlord, because obviously if he's going to show up, he's in charge. That Lord Executioner is just going to follow him around. You can have Objective Control 5 if you're not Battle Shocked. The other one is Bane of the Craven. Every time an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, that's in engagement range of this unit falls back, they have to make a Desperate Escape test, and they do so at -1, because he's just going to knock you down as you run. And then finally, your objectives. The first one is Champions of Khorne. From the second battle round onwards, at the end of your command phase, there's an objective marker wholly within no man's land that you control, and it has one or more character models, excluding battle-shocked ones, from your army within range of it. You get 2 VPs. If there's 2, you get 3. So you get to score by having your champions go up and clear zones. And the other one's Skull Takers. At the end of the fight phase, for every character model from your army that destroyed one or more enemy units, get 3 VPs, and you can't score more than 12. So go kill with your heroes. This is a really straightforward comp patrol. 3 strats. One is Horrifying Butchery for 1 CP. It targets Khorne Berserkers, and the enemy must make a Battle Shock test if they're engaged with them. Then we got Berserker Resilience for a CP. 1 World Leader's character from your army. If they're dead, at the end of each phase, each time a model in the unit's destroyed, if that model has not fought during that phase, roll a d6 and add 2 if you've got the total carnage thing on here. On a 4+, they're not destroyed. Don't remove them from play, but they get to fight on death. Basically, Berserker Resilience, it's like it's going to zhuzh up their ability to fight on death. And then Bloodlust is the last one. It targets Jackals in your opponent's shooting phase. 1 or more Jackals units from your army that is 1 or more of its models destroyed, they can make a normal move up to d6 inches. So they push ahead as they get killed. So real easy army, sort of like from a comp patrol point of view, you're going to run up and stab things. It does what it says in the tin. They have modified stat lines, obviously, from the stat lines in the core book, but we have our Master of Executions and Vorak, who's our Demon Prince. No special rules on this guy. He gets a Worthy Skull, so you can gain CPs, though, when he kills enemy characters. Your Berserkers and your Jackals don't get any special rules either. They just fight as normal. But they will in the core book. And we get Forces of the World Leaders. Okay, so army rule. We already talked about Blessings of Khorne. It's pretty simple. It does what I described. You roll 8d6. You can spend them on these abilities. I did find it was very funny, though. The example, though, is Ash makes a Blessing of Khorne. I feel very called out here. And rolls a 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 6, 6. So in that case, you can spend the 2 2s to do Rage Field and Invigoration for the 6-inch pile-in. And the double 6 for Decapitating Strikes. Target an infantry unit, well, any of your infantry units, they get devastating wounds for their melee attacks. Each time model in this unit makes a melee attack that targets infantry units. Sorry, they have to target infantry. You don't get devastating strikes against vehicles and stuff. Additional abilities. Unbridled Bloodlust for double 1s. You can reroll charge rolls. Rage Field Invigoration, I said, is already 6-inch power move. Total Carnage is fight on death. Martial Excellence. Sustained hits 1, it's for 2 4s or 3 1s. And then Warp Blades, 2 5s or 3 2s. Melee weapons get lethal hits. So it's lethal hits, devastating hits if you're targeting infantry, sustained hits 1, and total carnage. So again, this is one of those rules where it's inconsistent. You don't know what you're getting every turn. You have to roll d6s. There are abilities to get more rerolls to these dice to try and fish for the result you're looking for. But yeah, I can understand a little bit some of the complaints online about this coming out alongside the Death Guard, because the Death Guard is just all the time reduce your opponent's stats if they're within range of you. And then we got our first of our detachments. So this is Berserker Warband. This is kind of the standard one. I believe this was the one that was in the indexes as well. They get Relentless Rage. Each time a World Leader unit from your army makes a charge move until the end of the turn, add 1 to the attack characteristic and add 2 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped with my models in that unit. So, you know, your basic Khorne Berserkers are going to have, I think, 5 or 6 attacks, 5 attacks at strength 6, because their chain axes go up from 4 to 6. And it even makes your Jackal strength 5. Enhancements, you get a Berserker Glaive for a World Leader model. Add 1 to the attack and damage characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bear, but not like the mount attacks. Helm of the Brazen for a World Leader model. Each time an attack is allocated to the bear, it's -1 damage. And then Favorite of Khorne for World Leaders models only. Each time you make a Blessing of Khorne roll, if the bear is on the battlefield, you can reroll 2 of those dice from that Blessings of Khorne thing. So this is one that didn't exist, I think, in the previous index. And then finally, Battle Lust. World Leaders models only. You can reroll charge rolls made for the bear's unit. In addition, while the Unbridled Bloodlust Blessing of Khorne is active in your army, add 1 to charge rolls made for the bear's unit. And then we got 6 strats. We have Blood Offering. In any phase, 1 World Leader's unit from your army that was destroyed while it's within range of 1 or more objective markers you control at the end of the previous phase, you can use this stratagem even though they're dead. Select one of those objective markers, it remains under your control. So basically, like, Khorne's happy someone died there, doesn't care who it was. We got hack and slash. The bad guys from Reboot, that's a deep cut. For those of you watching, if you remember Reboot, that's a deep cut. Was it the bad guys were named Hexadecimal and I don't remember the Megabyte? Yeah, Megabyte and Hexadecimal, and hack and slash were the enforcers. In the fight phase, one World Eater's unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase and that made a charge move this turn can be targeted until the end of the phase, improve their AP by 1. So AP goes up because they made a charge. Frenzied Resilience, this is a -1 damage for a World Eater unit. This one's 2 CP. It's your only 2 CP one. So if you're targeted by attacks, basically, in the fight phase, so it's got to be melee, you can take -1 damage and be harder to kill. And then Skulls for the Skull Throne for 1 VP. In the fight phase, just after a World Eater's unit destroys a character or monster, and you target that unit, make a Blessing of Khorne roll, and use the results to activate a Blessing of Khorne until the end of the battle round. Then you get this on top of any additional ones. So you get a whole roll to try and cherry pick what you want. Apoplectic Frenzy just targets a Khorne Berserker unit that's selected to advance, and then you target that unit. They can still charge even though they ran. So running charge is nice. Berserker's Wrath is your last one for 1 CP in your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit's shot. And has to target a Berserker's unit from your army that can make a Blood Surge move as a result of those attacks. So someone has to have taken damage. The effect is don't roll a d6, you move 8 inches. So you get to run up 8. And that's the Berserker Warband. Then we got the Cult of Blood. They have Idols of Khorne. This is kind of your like berserkery culty one. So they got Idols of Khorne. Start your command phase. You can select one of the Idols of Khorne abilities listed below. Till the start of your next command phase, this ability is active and applies to all World Eaters Titanic and World Eaters monster units from your army. You can only select each Idol of Khorne ability once. So you're praising the big guys. Idol of Infinite Range. While friendly Jackals or Goremongers are within 6 of this model, or 9 if they're Titanic. Each model in that unit makes an attack. Add 1 to the hit roll, 1 to the wound roll. Idol of Burning Wrath. Again, Jackals and Goremongers within 6 or 9. Add 1 to their move and add 1 to their advance and charge rolls. Or Idol of Blessed Blood. While within 6 or 9, they get a 4+ invul save. That one's bananas. So you just take like your huge dudes, right? So like your Demon Princes. You can't take Bloodthirsters, obviously, because you can't use Demonic Legion stuff outside of that detachment. But your Lord of Skulls can show up. He does love being a Lord of Skulls with his toughness of 13 and his 3+5+, 24 wounds, and just give everybody a 4+ invul nearby. And he's not a monster anymore, never mind. So the Helldrake can't do it. The Forge Feed is a monster, though, I think. No, Vehicle Walker doesn't get monster. Who else can proc this? Vehicle Walker. It's looking like it's just going to be probably the big guy, and then your Demon Princes. He said ? Yeah, your Demon Princes will do it too, because they all have the monster keyword, and of course Angron will clearly do it because he's Angron. Lord of Mikatis does not do it. Okay, so yeah, your big guys. You got to follow around the Demon Princes and or the what's not Forge Fiend, I've forgotten his name already. He's old and I know his name, and it's Khorne Lord of Skulls. He's from Epic in the 90s, Ash, you knew that. Enhancements. Chosen of the Blood God for your monsters. Add 3 to the range of their aura abilities, the Demon Prince. Butcher Lord. We'll use infantry model only during the declare battle formation step. The bearer can be attached to Jackals and Goremongers. If attached to Goremongers, the bearer has infiltrators. That's pretty cool. So why not just attach, I don't know, let's say Khorne the Betrayer to a unit of Goremongers and have him deliver? He's World Eater's infantry. Looks like you could do it and have him infiltrate. Who else could go? The Master of Executions could go. The Slaughterbound could go. And that's it. So just Khorne and the Slaughterbound and the Master of Executions just hanging out with some dudes with robot legs infiltrating in the middle of the table. That's pretty funny, actually. We'll just have these toughness 4, 1 wound, 6+ save psychopaths hanging out with Khorne, just getting them stuck in the middle of the army. Actually, you couldn't do Khorne, never mind. It's an enhancement. He's an epic hero. So it's just the Master of... Is it literally just the Master of Execution and the new guy? I think that's it. Yeah, it would be the Master of Execution or the big guy, the Slaughterbound. Because the infantry character. Oh, that's funny. And then Brazen Form, World Leader's Monster only. Add 1 to its toughness and gets Feel No Pain 5+. And then Strategic Slaughter, World Leader's model only. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 Jackals or Goremongers units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set them up in Strategic Reserve. And then we get Bloody Vengeance. Any phase, a monster or Titanic unit from your army. You can use the stratagem even though they're destroyed, if they've been blown up. Until the end of the battle, each time a Jackal or Goremonger unit from your army attacks that unit, they can reroll the hit roll because they get mad that you killed their idol. Drawn to Slaughter, this one's 2 CPs. Target Jackals units from your army that was just destroyed. Add a new one into Strategic Reserve. So it's kind of like the zombie one from the Death Guard. You can recycle a unit. But you can't get characters back that were attached. In the Shadow of Brass Idols, for a Jackal and Goremonger unit from your army, in your opponent's shooting phase, after it's selected a target and they're targeted, they get Feel No Pain 6+. If your unit's within 6 of 1 or more friendly World Leaders monsters, or 9 of a Titanic, it's 5+ instead. So you get for instance, you could have the Idol of Blessed Blood for a 4+ invul, and then have a 5+ Feel No Pain next to a Titanic unit. The Bloodthirsty Horde. In the fight phase, 1 Jackals or Goremongers unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase, and is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. The effect is until the end of the phase, when determining which models are eligible to fight, any models in your unit that are within 3 of 1 or more enemy units are eligible to fight. When resolving those attacks, such units can target 1 or more enemy units within 3 of them. So basically, you're getting to play AOS with that unit for a turn. And then Fail Not the Blood God for a CP. In the fight phase, 1 Jackal or Goremonger unit from your army can be targeted until the end of that phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If that unit's within 6 of your Titanic or monster units, or 9 of a monster unit, they can reroll the hit roll instead. So all of this stuff is predicated upon you being nearby the idols. The Brazen Idol, in your command phase, 1 World Leader's Monster or World Leader's Titanic unit from your army. The effect is select the Idol of Infinite Rage, Idol of Wrath, or Burning Blood until the start of your next command phase. You get that ability on top of it. You can only use this once per battle. So double down, basically. You could have +1 hit and +1 wound, and also a 4+ invulnerable save for a turn. And then we got the one where you get to take the Legions of Khorne. So Khorne Demonkin, basically what it means is each time you take a restriction, you can include Blood Legions units in your army. In Incursion, 500 points to them, Strike Force 1,000, and Onslaught to 1,500. Those units are, obviously just all the demonic units, including Scarbrand. So you get access to... if you're doing 1,000 points, it means half your army in 2K could be a Bloodthirster, Scarbrand, Bloodletters, Fleshhounds, Blood Crushers, and that's it. And each Blood Legions or World Leaders unit from your army destroys an enemy unit on a 3+ gain a Blood Tithe point. As part of the command phase, you can spend 1 or more Blood Tithe points to activate one of the following abilities. For 2 points, Blood Legion and World Leader armies get Feel No Pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. For 3 Blood Tithe points, you gain Lance in your units in your army that are Blood Legion, but not the World Leaders. For 4 Blood Tithe points, Blood Legion models get a 4+ invul, and for 5 Blood Tithe points, Blood Legion armies get Blessings of Khorne. So they're all until the end of the battle, but you have to start killing people to unlock the ability for them to use the Blessings of Khorne. And it costs you 5. You'd probably do Boon of Blood right away, if I'm being honest, for the invul save, and then try and get more. But you have to destroy a whole enemy unit. And you have to spend your Blood Tithe points. It's not like it escalates. I don't like this rule. I think this should just escalate. Because killing 5 enemy units, to get all of these, you have to kill 14 enemy units. Really? You have to kill 9 enemy units to get 4+ invul and Blessing of Khorne. On just these little units that are probably on 1,000 points of demon units. This is going to be so irrelevant. Just have it escalate. Have it go 2, 3, 4, 5. That then by the end of the game, at least everything's activated, but you've had to do some work to get it. And by the end of the game, a lot of your demon stuff's going to be dead anyway. So there's diminishing returns on this rule anyway, and it's incredibly hard to unlock. So yeah, I would just have it be escalating how much Blood Tithe points you've earned, not have them be spent. This is what's the word? There's diminishing returns based on the attrition your army's taken, and this is a detachment rule that may or may not pay off over the course of the game. Enhancements, Icon of War for world leaders. While a friendly Bloody Legion unit's within 6 of the bear, that unit has Blessing of Khorne. If the Might of Khorne ability is used, while a friendly Blood Legion unit's within 6, they can reroll the Battle Shock test for that taken for that unit. Bloodforged Armor for either Blood Legion or World Leader, they get a 2+ save, and if they're destroyed, they get a Blood Tithe point. Disciple of Khorne, Lord on Juggernaut only. Declare the battle formation step. You can be attached to Blood Crushers or Fleshhounds. And while leading one of the units, you gain Deep Strike, so you can shut from the warp. But you have the Blood Legion's keyword instead of the World Leader's keyword. And then Blade of Endless Bloodshed. World Leaders only add one of the attack, strength, and damage characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit with a melee attack, do not roll to gain a Blood Tithe point. You just gain a Blood Tithe point instead. It's too much work to get Blood Tithe points. I would just, that will be that. If people want you to use this, it's probably not going to be popular enough that they'll do anything about it, but these simple fixes just change the wording on that from spend to total the number of Blood Tithe points you have, and then activate these abilities stacking. Summoned by Slaughter, 1 CP. The veil between reality and warp is eroded, and Khorne's demonic legions spill forth. When any phase, when the last model from unit is destroyed, one blood unit targets a blood letter unit in reserve, and the effect is set your unit up anywhere in the battlefield, wholly within 9 of that destroyed enemy unit, and not in the engagement range, and removed from play. So basically, Khorne's happy that dudes are dying, and so that means that he just like warps in a unit of blood letters when one of your units dies. You're basically trading a unit of jackals for a unit of blood letters that you already paid for. Demonic Fury, pick a Blood Legion unit in your army. Select one friendly World Leaders unit within 6 of your unit. Until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by models in that World Leaders unit have Lance. If the Demonic Rage ability is active, then you also have Twin Linked. A Worthy Skull, one in the fight phase, just after Blood Legions or World Leaders units from your army have fought, and one or more character monster units are destroyed. That Blood Legions or World Leaders unit is the target. You gain D3 Blood Tithe points. You can spend one or more Blood Tithe points you have to activate an ability. So like, it lets you mid-game activate one and spend them, and you gain D3. It's too much work to gain these points. And then Blessing of Burning Blood, when your opponent's shooting, like if you had a shooting phase, you might be able to earn these, but because you have to run across the table to hit people, you're not earning them in the first turn or two. Yeah, it's just too much work. Blessing of Burning Blood, target a Blood Legions unit from your army that's within 6 of a friendly World Leader unit that was targeted by an attack. And then until the end of the phase, models in the World Leader unit have a 5+ invul, and if the Boon of Blood's active, they get a 4+ instead, because they're like swimming in the aura of the demons. Demon Tide in your command phase, select a World Leaders unit from your army, select one friendly Blood Legions unit within 6 of your unit, one destroyed mounted model, up to D3 destroyed beast models, or up to D6 destroyed infantry models return to that Blood Legion unit with their full wounds remaining. That's pretty cool. And you cannot use this to bring back character models, but you can replenish your demon units. And then finally, Murder Crawl in your opponent's fight phase, pick a Blood Legion unit from your army. It's on the battlefield and not engaged. Remove them from the battlefield and go on strategic reserve. Yeah, I don't love that one. I'll be honest. I think that one's probably the weakest of the bunch just because of the way the Blood Tithe ability works. And like the Death Guard one, they just get all the Death Guard's aura abilities without having to pay for them. This one uses like a weird earning system and a weird accounting you have to do. Yeah, it's not great. So your possessed one, this is all for your 8 bound. All your possessed gain Brazen Fury. In your opponent's shooting phase, each time an enemy model unit is shot, if any models from this unit were destroyed as a result of the attacks, this unit can make a Brazen Fury move. To do so, roll 1d6. Models in this unit move a number of inches up to this result, but this unit must end that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit, excluding aircraft. When you do so, they can move in engagement range of that enemy unit, and this unit can make a Brazen Fury move while it's battle shocked or within engagement range of one or more enemy units, and can only make one Brazen Fury move per turn. So if you're stuck in combat or you're battle shocked, you don't get to do it. But otherwise, if somebody dies, you just get D6 pushed forward, which is neat. Brazen Fury, I believe, is also, it's the Jackal's ability, but your little guy or your big guys get it instead. Brazen Fury is the World Leaders one, not Jackal's. Blood Surge. Yeah, it's kind of a Blood Surge move. It's not quite as good because theirs is D6 plus 2. Yeah. This one's just D6. Your enhancement's Malicious Vigor for your Slaughterbound only. Each time they make a Brazen Fury move, they roll 6 automatically. Killing Clarity, World Leader's Demon model only. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit on a 4+ get a CP. Frenzied Focused, World Leader's Demon model only. Each time model in this bearer's unit makes an attack, a critical hit in this 5+ instead of a 6+. And then Violent Demise. The bearer's Deadly Demise ability is on a 2+ instead of a 6. In addition, they do D3 plus 1 mortal wounds instead of D3. So you're just extra explodey demons. And then we've got 4 1 CP abilities and 2 CP ones. We got a Demonic Resistance for 2 CPs. In your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, after you selected a target, you pick with the possessed guy that got targeted. They're -1 to wound. Demonic Strength. In the fight phase, pick a possessed unit that hasn't fought yet, and the effect is until the end of the phase. Each time attack made by a model in your unit is allocated to an enemy model. If your unit has the 8-bound keyword, add 1 of the damage against monsters and vehicles. If it's exalted, and the enemy model is a monster vehicle, add 1 of the damage characters to the attack instead. So the 8-bounds are good at fighting non-monsters and vehicles. The exalted are good at fighting monsters and vehicles. So pair them up against the appropriate unit, you get +1 damage. Immortal Fury, and this one is when the fight phase, after the enemy selected an attack and it's a possessed model gets attacked. The effect is until the end of the phase. Each time a model unit is destroyed, they automatically fight back on death. No need to roll. Rapid Manifestation for 1 CP. In your movement phase, pick an exalted 8-bound unit that arrived via Deep Strike, and they can be placed anywhere in the battlefield more than 3 horizontally from enemy units. And the restriction is a unit with this stratagem is not eligible to declare charge in the same turn. I don't know why you would bother with that ability. I guess because if you got shot, Brazen Fury could push you into melee. That's about it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's you rapid manifest so you can get pushed in with Brazen Fury because they can come into melee. Warp Stalkers. In your movement phase or your charge phase, target 1 World Leader's possessed unit from your army that has not been selected to move or declared to charge this phase. And the effect is until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes a normal advance, fallback, or charge move, it can move through enemy models, excluding monsters and vehicles. When doing so, it can move within engagement range of such models, but cannot end that move within engagement range of them, and any desperate escape test is automatically passed. And finally, and I love the name of this one, Horrifying Violence. In your opponent's command phase, 1 World Leader's possessed unit from your army can be targeted. Each enemy unit within engagement range of your unit must make a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from that test. And finally, we get an Armored Company, a Gore Track Onslaught. You know, the thing the World Leaders are so known for. They're tank formations. We get rushed to the fray. Each time a World Leader's unit disembarks from a transport, until the end of the turn, add 1 of the charge rolls they get to make. And their weapons get Lance. I mean, that ain't bad. Giving them Lance, which means the fixed ability to wound and then charge rolls. I think that's fine. Murderous Onslaught's your first enhancement for a World Leader model only. If the bearer's unit's embarked on a transport, until the end of the turn, enemy units can't fire Overwatch stratagems or shoot the bearer's unit when they disembark. So if you disembark, basically you can't get like any kind of reflex fire on you from Tau. Like you just plunge in. Aggressive Deployment, World Leaders models only. In the declare battle formation step, if the bearer starts a battle on dedicated transport, it gets Scout 9. Unleash Hell, World Leaders model only. At the start of your shooting phase, you can select 1 vehicle model within 6 of the bearer, or if the bearer's transport is embarked within a transport, if you can select the transport model until the end of the phase. After the selected model shot, select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of its attacks until the next turn it's suppressed. It's -1 to hit. And then Infernal Infusion, World Leaders only. Once per battle, at the start of the fight phase, the bearer can use enhancement. If it does, it gets fight first. So neat. Like, it makes transports arguably better for this army in particular that's trying to get into melee. Again, great names for some of these strats. They're all 1 CP. The first one is the Endless Pursuit of Violence. Yeah, it's just choosing violence at all times. When the end of a fight phase, target a World Leader's infantry unit and 1 friendly transport. If your World Leader's infantry unit's wholly within 6, they can embark. So push them back in a vehicle for 1. So jump out, kill everything. If it's nearby, jump back in. And then Smash Through for a CP. In your movement phase, one World Leader's vehicle model from your army that's not been selected to move this phase. Until the end, they can go through terrain. So you just walk through walls with them. Aggressive disembarkation in your movement phase. Pick a Rhino that has not been selected to move yet. One World Leader's unit embarked within your Rhino can disembark. When doing so, models in that unit can be set up anywhere in the battlefield, wholly within 6 of the Rhino, and can be set up within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. So you can be in melee. You can just get out in melee, basically. And because you're doing that in the movement phase, that means no Overwatch. You just appear in melee outside the Rhino. That's kind of neat, actually. A full throttle assault in your movement phase, one World Leader's Rhino model from your army that hasn't moved yet. The effect is, until the end of the phase, each time a World Leader's unit disembarks from the model after it has made a normal move, the unit's still eligible to declare a charge this turn. And then, so like that's the one where like they can zip up 12 with the Rhino, and then you can still get up and charge. That's pretty nice. It gives you assault ramp for a CP, basically. And then unrelenting violence in your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit's shot, pick the vehicle that was targeted and hit. The effect, your model can make a normal move up to 6 inches. Unit cannot be targeted by this stratagem and the Fury Unleashed stratagem in the same phase. And then Fury Unleashed, when your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit's been shot, target a World Leader's Rhino from your army that has 1 or more wounds remaining and was hit by an attack. The effect is one Khorne Berserker unit embarked within that model can disembark and then make a Blood Surge move. A unit cannot be targeted by this and the unrelenting advance stratagem in the same turn. So basically, you drive your Rhino right up to the enemy, they shoot you, and then for a CP, you get out and then move D6 plus 2 into melee. I like that. I like Fury Unleashed. That's a cool ability. And those are all of our detachments. So data sheets, we still got the Angron. He's still the Angron, 16 wounds, 2+4+. Samnieris and Spine Grinder, his 2. I hate that it's not Gorefather and Gorechild anymore. But they always do devastating wounds, and it's a sweep or a strike. 16 2+, strength 7, -2/2 damage attacks. What a bananas just weapon. And then the devastating 8 attacks, 2+, strength 14, -3 d6 plus 2 damage. He just kills a knight. Just absolutely dumpsters it. Blood God's Favorite, you can reroll up to 6 dice for your Blessings of Khorne. Overwhelming Wrath, each time an enemy is within 6 models selected to fall back, you have to make a leadership test or just stand there peeing their pants. And then Driven by Ultimate Rage. While a friendly World Leader's units within 6 of this model, you can ignore any or all models or modifiers that move characteristic and do advance and charge rolls because they just want you to run. And every time they make a melee attack, you can ignore any modifiers to their rolls to hit because they love killing, Morty. He's got Deadly Demise D6, which I think is weird, but cool that he blows up. And he's Reborn in Blood. At the start of the battle round, when you make a Blessing of Khorne roll, if this model is destroyed, you can use a 666 from that roll to use this ability instead of activating any blessings for the start of the battle round. If you do, this model is no longer destroyed, and in the reinforcement step, you set him up with 8 wounds left. He just keeps coming back. And then Wrathful Presence, at the start of the battle round, select one Wrathful Presence ability, which is these ones over here. Yep, just comes back, only fights in melee, stabs and stabs and stabs, doesn't stay dead. Khorne's still Khorne. Yeah, 3+4+, Plasma Pistol, Gorechild, which is why he's got Gorechild. I wish he just wished that Angron had Gorefather. I don't know why. He's got 8 2+, strength 7, -2 3 damage attacks. Yeah, he's still cool. Legendary Killer. While this model's leading a unit, each time that model makes a melee attack, reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll rune rolls of 1. He's great at making dudes better at fighting. He's the Betrayer, though. At the end of your charge phase, if this model is leading a unit and is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you must make a leadership test for this model. If it's failed, kill a bodyguard model. And then Berserker Fury. The first time his model is destroyed, roll a D6 at the end of the phase on a 2+, set him back up as close as possible to where he was destroyed, not in engagement range, with 3 wounds left. A lot of coming back to life in this army. Deep Striking the Lord Invocatus, which is neat, and you also get Scout D6, because you can lead 8-bound and Exalted 8-bound, and they Deep Strike. Master of Executions, still very cool at murdering, but attaches to World Leaders. Khorne Berserker, sorry. And then Lord on Juggernaut. Can also, doesn't Deep Strike though. Just Exalted 8-bound, Exalted 8-bound or Khorne Berserkers, what he can lead with. I do like that you can put the Cavalry guy in with the basic Khorne Berserkers though. Demon Prince gets blessings of Khorne. Lord of Murder, while he's within 3 of one or more friendly world leaders' infantry units, this model has Lone Operative, and then Devastating Assault. He gets Devastating Wounds ability on his attacks. So like his Hellforge Sweep gets 16 2+, Strength 6 -1, Devastating Wounds attacks. And then Direct to Slaughter, once per battle round, one model from your army with this ability can use it when a friendly world leader's unit within 12 is targeted with a stratagem. If it does so, reduce the CP cost of the usage of that stratagem by 1. So like for instance, you could use the Dump of the Rhino and charge for free once per battle round. You get him with wings too, with a move of 14. But then I think his save goes down. No, it doesn't. His toughness goes down. Toughness goes down to 9. The big old Slaughterbound, the new guy, 10-inch move. Man, he's fast. I mean, all the demon possessed guys are fast. They got big demon legs. Toughness 6, 3+ save, 5+ invul, 6 wounds. Lacerator and Demonic Claw. 6 attacks, 2+, strength 8 -2, 2 damage. He's a marine killer. If you attach him to possessed, then he gets deep strike and scout 6. Depending on which one, right? Because the 8-bound get the scout, and then the exalted get the deep strike. I love the deadly demises because he goes down fighting. Rage Eternal, while this model is leading a unit in your command phase, you can return 1 destroyed bodyguard model to that unit. He also brings guys back to life. And Possessed Lord, once per battle at the start of the fight phase, this model can use this ability. If it does until the end of the phase, add 3 the attack characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this model, and he gets Devastating Wounds. So 9 attacks, 2+, strength 8, AP -2, 2 damage, and Devastating Wounds. 8-bound gets Scout. They all hit like a ton of bricks. They get more attacks, but less AP, same damage. Yep, and just chain blades everywhere. They get the Beacon of Rage, which is an aura, while friendly world leaders units within 6 of this unit. Each time model in that unit makes a melee attack that targets a unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, get +1 to the hit roll, because they're the infantry killers, and they get +1 to win if they're below half strength. And this one's for monsters and vehicles. If they're engagement range, they have to make Desperate Estate tests if they try and fall back. Khorne Berserkers get the Blood Surge. Cast Terminators, standard Terminators, but with Blood Fury and Blessings of Khorne. If they target the close enemy unit, you can reroll the hit roll. Each time this unit declares a charge, the target's in a close eligible unit, you can reroll the charge roll. The new Goremongers, Jackals are still Jackals. They get Objective Ravage. They need your command phase. If this unit's within range of an objective marker you control, that objective marker remains under your control if they move away. And then Goremongers get the Loping Speed. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback within 9. If it's not within engagement range, it can make a normal move up to D6. These guys get to move. Get your spawns. Hell Boots get Devoted to Destruction and Frenzy in your opponent's shooting phase. And in the fight phase, each time an enemy model targets this model, after that unit's finished making its attacks, this model can either shoot or fight. But when resolving those attacks, can only target that enemy unit. So if somebody basically shoots them, he shoots back. Defiler gets Unleashed Wrath. At the end of the opponent's movement phase, you can select one enemy unit that was set up on the battlefield within 12 of this model, and they can either shoot them or declare a charge against them. Nothing particularly Khorne-like for Chaos Land Raider. I get Blessing of Khorne, obviously. Mauler Fiend gets Scent of Blood. Each time this unit makes a charge, it targets one or more units below starting strength. Add +1 to the charge roll. Blood Hungry Annihilator for the Chaos Predator Annihilator. Each time this model makes a ranged attack against a eligible vehicle or monster within 18, reroll the wound roll and reroll the damage roll. Chaos Predator Destructor gets a Punishing Suppression. In your shooting phase, after this model shot, select an enemy unit that was hit by one or more attacks. Until the start of your next turn, the enemy unit's suppressed. While it's suppressed, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. And then meet any challenge in your opponent's movement phase for a Rhino. Each time a unit sets up and runs a normal move within or fallback within 9 of this model, any units embarked can disembark. You can jump out. And we already went through the Lord of Skulls because he gets the Idol of Blessed Blood. Roll an additional d6 if he's on the battlefield. He's still great. Toughness 13. He's a knight. Like, he's just a giant Khorne knight. And then, yeah, the demon stuff's still the demon stuff. So I'm not going to spend much time on it. And we get a weapon identifier, which I think is neat. They did this in the Death Guard book as well, so you actually tell what you're looking at. And you get a little, like, style guide on it, too. That's a nice addition. I like that in these codexes. Crusade rules? Well, what do you think it's going to be about? Come on. Slayer starts playing. Please don't demonetize me. The Judgment of the Blood God comes down. The more offerings you make, the more cool stuff you get. It's 1 to 3. As part of each update Crusade card step of each battle, any units from your Crusade army that have 1 or more skull points may make an offering to Khorne. Each time a unit does so, make a judgment roll for each unit by rolling a d6 and adding 1 for every 3 skull points you offer. You can also add 1 to the result for every legendary skull point your unit has and consult the table below. Basically, when you kill units, you gain skull points, and then you gather up skulls and make offerings. So like on an 8+, you do a mighty offering. So if you roll a 6 and you had, I guess, you need 6 skull points. You'd roll a d6 on the greater rewards of Khorne table and apply the result. So lesser rewards are things like gain 5 XP. Greater rewards could be like blistering fury. Each time a unit ends a charge move, select 1 enemy unit with an engagement range and then roll a d6 for each model in that unit that has is an engagement range. And on 5+, do a mortal wounds. It's like an impact hit. And this is how you're going to gain all kinds of little bonuses. So it's pretty straightforward. Kill. Gain skulls, offer skulls in the update thing. And then you get some cool agendas. Like Blood for the Blood God, each time an enemy unit is destroyed by a melee attack made by a World Eaters unit from your Crusade army, that unit gains an XP. A unit can't gain more than 3 XP from this agenda. And then Skulls for the Skull Throne. Each time a World Eaters model from your Crusade army destroys an enemy character or monster, gain 2 XP. Unit can't get more than 5 XP from this. And additionally, you get a skill point at the end of the battle for that unit. So it's really your heroes that are getting the skill points and stuff. Cool boons. Get muscular bulk and get 2 wounds. Steel sinews, add 1 to your move and 1 to advance and charge rolls. Find cool Crusade relics like the Bloodstep Blade. Each time a bearer's unit destroys 1 or more enemy units in the fight phase. If there's no enemy units within 3 of the bearer, in the consolidation step, you can choose to remove the bearer and put them in strategic reserve and they can deep strike on later. And you can find Gorefather as a legendary relic. The bearer's melee weapons have devastating wounds. At the end of the fight phase, you can select 1 enemy unit with engagement range of the bearer and roll a d6. On a 4+, they take a mortal wound. And then it's just the standard stuff. So this is like, honestly, again, compared to like the Death Guard one of like cooking up concoctions and stuff, this one's pretty straightforward. It's just get skulls from your agendas and then spend them on stuff and get your skull hardness. So they do have a cool, the units you see of your skull tracker for how many skulls you find. And then your Crusade badges for winning. And then point values. And again, I don't like... The balance of Warhammer 40,000 is not something that I have the time or energy to keep up with, so I will leave it to you guys to determine whether or not these are fair and just point values for what you're getting. But yeah, the army's pretty straightforward. Lots of killing, lots of running forward and stabbing stuff. I do understand sort of their ability is RNG based, so when you compare... random number generation of I might or might not get these abilities to the Death Guard one of just like, you get these abilities all the time. You can also find ways in your army to throw those abilities out, and then the range of your abilities gets bigger. You have a fixed static ability versus comparative and RNG-driven abilities. I do think that while the World Eaters book is fine in a vacuum, when you compare it to the Death Guard one, the Death Guard one's more straightforward, does a lot of what this army does as well. And like you compare the demonic legions too, right? With like the skulls for the skull, or was it the Legion of Khorne, where they have to earn their ability to use the blessings of Khorne, whereas the Nurgle one just happens automatically. They get the aura and the blessings on top of it just for taking them in the army. It feels like inconsistent game design. So I'm not going to comment on is it better or the codex is better or worse compared to each other. It's that the two things are coming out parallel to each other, and I completely understand why one with like a fixed ability with fixed sort of effects feels like it's better and easier to use than like we have to earn the ability RNG based. Like sometimes I get to pick these abilities, sometimes I don't. One for the World Eaters. And they're all Space Marines. They all have cool melee fighters. They all do stuff that's powerful. They both have a Demon Primarch. You know what I mean? Like raw kind of stat-wise, with the exception of the Plague Marines being more generalist and like their ability to shoot and fight in melee, and the Warriors being very dedicated to fighting in melee, like take that kind of apart from it from a side, the game design itself feels inconsistent because one's having the player just get stuff, and this one's very much about having the player either have to earn it or getting it at random. And so I do get that experientially, like from a game design point of view, that makes it feel more like weird, inconsistent Berserkers, but it's not going to be as fun to play because it's not predictable the way the Death Guard one is. So I kind of agree with and understand people's, I don't want to say complaints, but like the way that it feels weird between these two releases, in that the game design just doesn't feel consistent between the two books. And that's probably just because they're made by different teams in a vacuum from each other. And they unfortunately are coming out directly. Like if these came out 3 months apart, I don't think they'd be getting scrutinized against each other the way they are right now. But we just had like Chaos Book, Chaos Book, Chaos Book, back to back to back. And that's just gonna feel weird for people. Thanks for putting my name in the army roll, though. That was great. Thanks, Workshop. And thank you guys for sending along the copies of this to review. But thanks for watching. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. It's been Ash.